go. We are back. I think that from now on, I'm going to upload my full sessions rather than going ahead and dividing them up into smaller videos. I never really zoom in a lot, do I? Take a look at what's going on over here. So far, things are going well. We've been expanding the islands. My support looks low. It shouldn't be low. Let me unpause really quick. Me first. Yeah, there we go. My support is 90%. So it's not actually that low. We've got all of our children attending college, learning how to destroy our enemies, you know, becoming nuclear physicists. Some of the people in class are 23 and some of them are 11. It's fine. You know, some people take their sweet time learning. Or maybe they came from another country where, you know, they didn't have anything that could be really considered an education, not by Tropican standards at least. Just taking a moment to admire my work. Although this neighborhood looks just a little bit crappy, literally, a crappy place to live, right next to the manure spreader. So I think that was one thing I wanted to go ahead and fix. Also, despite my power plants, there isn't a huge amount of electricity. Although, this coal power plant could, in fact, go ahead and upgrade. I could, in the Cold War, upgrade to using oil instead of just, like, selling it. That would be nice. Let me go ahead and look here. I have a coal resource here. I have one here, and I have one over here, but I'm not gonna drill into this because that would be obviously not convenient. Maybe much later, I could always consider getting rid of these plantations. These are all in the right work mode, right? Every last one of them are. If people just absolutely must live close to work over here, I can always go ahead and build another area, another residential area. The only problem with that is I already can't power all of this. There's a chance that that problem will be solved once the coal gets delivered here. It'll be able to start producing enough electricity. Right now, I'm only using electricity for housing, however. So people have electricity in their houses, but not at their workplaces, which will eventually need electricity. Really, that would be the first place to get electricity under normal circumstances, but I don't see the point of depriving our citizens when we have mostly a plantation economy. There's no need to worry. Research. I do need to go ahead and decide. This is something I had considered. Right to arms is something. Have I ever put that on? I really should. Yeah. This will allow our citizens to carry arms. Increases liberty, decreases the crime safety, but military squads deal 10% more damage. And of course, they also I already have a professional army, so they're dealing quite a lot of damage already. And I have military police.
You're never really free unless you can exercise your liberty by shooting someone when they annoy you. Declaring a right to arms allows citizens to enjoy the wonders of gun ownership, with no downsides except a substantial increase in the homicide rate. The gun nuts will be pleased, plus your future soldiers will get plenty of target practice as they join teenage gangs and fight turf wars. Those little rascals.
Yeah, as Penultimo was saying, there's obviously no downside at all. In a civilized country, you really just need to have, the citizens being armed. After all, 90% of them are on my side, and I don't see why that should change anytime soon. Plus, we've had a whole bunch of guerrilla warfare going on over here, and it'll be pretty nice when Raquel Vasquez, the 11-year-old girl, is walking to school. You can always go ahead and make sure that she keeps her submachine gun on her at all times, so that way, if she gets attacked by any kind of rebel scum on the way, we can blow them away. Herself, the authorities can simply collect the corpses of any kind of criminals who would mess with the future of Tropico. Our children are the future, and they should be armed to defend themselves, obviously. How are my raids going? I never actually got back around to having any more. I suppose I should try doing this again. I was going to get these. I've got a good amount of raid points after sulking for so long when they destroyed my commando HQ and destroyed all my progress. But now the allies are really regretting their choices. My faith happiness needs to be increased. I promised it would be, One thing I could do, let's take a look here. No, we don't need to do that. I have some chapels over here that I, a long time ago, put on help first, preach later. I can put them back on traditional sermon because I did invent healthcare some time ago. I think I had another chapel around here somewhere. That should increase my faith happiness to make sure that these two and maybe another one. Is there anything else? There wouldn't be anything else that is oh, this is a bunkhouse that I'm looking at, not the church. Here we go. It was behind the... Okay. Let me go ahead and... I don't think I put any chapel over here on that. I don't have another chapel, really. What I should do is look at this problem. It's gotta be these people living over here, right? Who are all working on the plantation and are poor. Yeah. Look at all these people. These poor people. I have to go ahead and make them a neighborhood over here for them to live in. I'm not so sure that I want to provide them with electricity over here, though. It seems like a huge waste, if I'm being honest. Because, they're just going to end up... They really should be living over here. I invented an entire... I created a whole bus station for the express purpose of delivering people from these apartments to these job opportunities. And nobody seems to care about that at all. Because they're too lazy to take the bus, which poor people would be able to afford to do. Instead, I'm going to have to go ahead and create another neighborhood. I didn't actually choose another... Let's see. What other thing should I do here? Ah, yes. Child allowance. I'm normally not a huge fan of welfare, But if the welfare actually encourages good behavior, then it's good. By doing this, children are not accounted for when determining the economic wealth of a family, meaning that when you have 1 or 2 children, you won't be able to, normally that could make somebody who's well off poor, or somebody who's poor broke, because they have to pay to house their children and feed them and all that stuff. But since children are the future, we're just going to pay for children. And everybody who has children will be able to simply make more money and will be able to afford to live in nicer places and spend their money. And it doesn't discourage having children, in other words. It doesn't make families broke. If only other countries that I could think of would do something like this, as opposed to giving away money to single parents, they could just go ahead and encourage having more children. That would be great. It only costs $3 a month. Let me take one little look at my economy to see that, in fact, I can afford to do this. If I look at the people in total, if I look at age, there are 194 children and 559 adults. So, if I think about this, that would be 194 times 3. That would be $582. Yeah. So ultimately, it's not going to be a big deal, although they might have more children. If I look at my money, the amount of money that I'm making makes my expenses are definitely. This is my last month's expenses. This is a lot less than what this one freighter just brought in, like significantly less. So I can afford $500, $600, $700 to spend on allowing people to have children without going totally broke. Let's go ahead and do that.
Do you know what is popular with the people? Families. Everyone loves children. Well, everyone loves their own children. Other people's children are another matter entirely. But we can win some popular support by paying people to have children. The citizens will like all the implications of that legislation.
Yeah, they will. Let's do that. Okay, and another thing that I need to research really quick is Employee of the Month. Everybody works double shifts in mines and industrial buildings. As long as the edict is active, it does cost $350 a month. That is very good.
Everyone wants to be paid more, and working hard is a virtue. We should combine these thoughts via a series of bonus payments and reward schemes for workers who put in those extra hours. Of course, when I say extra hours, I mean the all-new standard shift, which is more or less continuous.
Excellent. We're going to be the most productive country in the world. We're producing crops. We're producing, mine resources. We're producing cigars and rum and luxury goods and, all the energy. And we're also, of course, going to produce the most children, and the best children, too, because our children are attending college. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and, now that I have this plantation, I need to look here where I do have tobacco. That was, wait, are these 2 tobacco? Well, that was an intelligent decision, wasn't it? I have mostly tobacco here. But you know what? What I really need now is another cigar factory over here. This will employ a lot of people here. And I can go ahead and put it just over here. Yeah. And I do have a sugar plantation. One of these is sugar, yeah. So I can go ahead and also make another Let me see, actually. Can I make another sugar plantation, maybe? Anywhere around here, that'd be good. I could always do it, you know, here if I really wanted to. Although, no, it wouldn't really fit in there. I could do it here, although that would be across from the other one, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be ideal. But you know what? That's fine. Even so, I only have one rum distillery. So let me build a rum distillery on this island. These are the main two resources that I need, you know? The cigar factory and the rum distillery. A rum distillery actually can employ uneducated people as well, which is kind of unique of many industrial buildings that make refined resources.
Presidente, you look bored. Do you not have an underling to throw oddly shaped objects at?
Stay still, Wolfgang! Do not move!
Okay, yeah, I can do that. If I refuse to fulfill their demands, they might be, you know, that might affect our alliance, right? Which would be bad, because then I would be immediately invaded and destroyed. So I guess I should go ahead and do that. Only problem with that is, well, I don't even need to complete this. I mean, I only need to survive the war, right? And it's not like this is gonna expire, because he's already got a really high opinion of me here. So, I'm gonna be real, it's really unlikely I'm gonna be able to complete this, because what I've currently got here is the Moe heads thing. But why not? I'll put this on my to-do list, I guess. I might regret even doing that. Like I said, it won't be long. And then I will not have to worry. Urban development. Let's go ahead and get these down. Residential. What I really need are a few more flop houses around here. They want to live here so bad. I guess I could go ahead and put these right here. You know, it's not a bad idea. It's a good use of my space, right? Right over here. I mean, there's literally manure spreader right here. This is a terrible place to live. But you know what? It should be probably fine. I'm gonna do my typical strategy of the circus and the church and the clinic and all that in close proximity, right? Everything that you need in order to survive is all of this stuff. Yeah, this is perfectly acceptable just to put these next to each other. The church and the circus are just inseparable buildings, you know? They always go in the same place. I'm sure this will work out. It has everything you need. I'm building a church, a circus, a clinic, and a fire station. That's more than enough to sustain a population.
The palace has announced new seismic tests to investigate the robustness of our infrastructure. Don't be alarmed, but do shelter under doorways.
Do not worry, Presidente. These tremors surely do not herald a big quake. Unless you say it is okay.
Okay. I guess I will strengthen all my buildings. We're gonna have more of these to begin. Anyway, it's not gonna matter. Oh. What's that which is on fire? It's the circus. That's fine. Might have been more helpful if I had built some more construction offices, but I don't see that that's really necessary. Look at how fast this is going anyway.
The recent spate of earthquakes has ended. El Presidente is believed to have persuaded... Do you have a bucket? Are you a team player? Then Tropico needs you, citizens, because it's on fire!
Cool. Alright, everything's going well. No problems at all. I still have a lot of knowledge that I have yet to use, but saving it isn't a bad idea either. By the way, never do this. This will destroy the world. It'll destroy your economy, and you'll instantly lose. Just a little FYI. Don't ever... I could go ahead and get wealth tax, I guess, although it's a pretty repugnant idea to make people say, let's not make more money, let's stay, you know, wherever we are, right? And to stay out of the higher tax bracket. As it is, there's no real income tax. I suppose this is an income tax, isn't it? Because you end up paying once you actually are making enough money. But I guess people don't pay taxes in Tropico for their income. I'm kind of looking at this. I don't see why I wouldn't want to do that. This only increases the upkeep, but also the efficiency of my education buildings. That's fine. Strange that that's an edict, though. Okay, that's done. Literacy
As
program.
convenient as it has been to have most of our citizens incapable of reading, certain judgmental nations have accused Tropico of being a backward backwater. Fortunately, it was written in a foreign newspaper, so not only did nobody here see it, they couldn't read it even if they had. However, if you decide you should like to have more citizens who could read and write, we can always throw money at the school system and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great idea, you know? That always works. Oh, I didn't even notice that this existed. There's also agricultural subsidies, which has always been a little bizarre. So, increases the efficiency of all agricultural buildings. Increases the upkeep of those buildings. But what's weird about this is it decreases capitalist standing by 10 and increases the communist. Now, well, I'll just go ahead and let Penultimo explain it.
The farm. It's not just a place where illiterate workers can drive oddly dangerous vehicles. It's where all of Tropico's food is grown. I checked. We could have more food for everyone, even our friends abroad if they're willing to pay, with just a little investment in economic incentives. Of course, some will complain that you're messing with the free market economy, but you can't farm eggs for omelets without breaking a few friendships.
So the idea is this will make the capitalist angry because I'm messing with the free market economy. The only problem that I find with this is that in Tropico, everything is owned by the state. So how can you subsidize a plantation that you already own? This is just a way of, you know, this is really not much different from increasing the budget on all of the plantations. It's obviously got a much more profound effect than that as an edict, but the idea that I'm interfering with the free market economy is a little strange. Obviously, I'm interfering with the global free market economy if I'm like trying to undercut other like, oh, you know, the other Caribbean islands and other places, they can't grow food for as cheap. But I'm spending my money on my plantations, so it's like that's just capitalism. There's no messing with the free market economy going on at all. It's ridiculous. An actual government subsidy would be supporting some kind of private business or enterprise that can't support itself because it doesn't do good enough business. As for my plantations, they are the backbone of my economy. they are creating the absolute best cash crops that I have, and I mean, it's just a ridiculous, misunderstanding, I think, by the developers. Although, I guess the consequence of that is that it makes the communists like me more, which normally they wouldn't like me as much, so, and it sacrifices the capitalists who obviously like me a little bit more, so their opinion doesn't matter as much. Same reason I might institute a wealth tax later, once I actually have rich people to pay it. The capitalists like me so easily, the communists not so much. So every once in a while I have to do something to exchange opinion between the factions who do and don't like me, so it all levels out. Do I have to... Oh no, I don't have to. What is this? Filthy rich levels don't pay any rent. Oh, it goes to your Swiss bank account. 15%. That's crazy. That's the worst edict I've ever seen. The filthy rich people...
Flying cars the future? Only if Tropico can win the war. So remember, if you want flying cars, be vigilant and buy war bonds.
I was just looking at that edict, and it basically says that I could allow filthy rich people to not have any rent, and instead they bribe me with like a fraction of the cost in my secret Swiss bank account. That looks like one of the worst things ever.
A bad workman blames his tools, but he has to have some tools before he can blame them.
Deliver leather and deliver steel. Am I able to produce leather? Maybe I can. I think I have something over here that can produce leather. Crocodiles, that's right. This produces leather. This is all going pretty well, I think.
An impromptu vandalism competition ended in victory today for the Tropican rebels, as they beat the local authorities by 2 whole walls.
Here they come. They should be cut off, right? I've got a military base over here. Or are they just not going to do anything? Yeah. The guerrillas are escaping again. It's barely even worth... Are you guys just not gonna, Oh, you're showing up to work, are you? Yeah, everybody was just not on their shift at the time, so... Yeah, and now, of course, they're gonna go straight to where the attack was.
Sir, yes, sir. The operation is back on target.
You know what? As soon as that's done, I actually have something else that I need these guys to deal with. Instead of sabotaging the allies, I'll cancel this one. I just need to do, I just need to do this, Just do that a little bit, right? Just go ahead and go, kill all of the guerrillas. How many are there anyway? Do we have some idea as to, I mean, I don't really have a lot of surveillance because it doesn't really matter to me at all. But we're just gonna go do some patrols and kill all the bad guys. Okay? We'll go and burn down their mud hut that they're hiding inside of. That'll deal with them for good. This is just fantastic right here. Look at that.
Sir, we are unable to move the giant stone heads without a large number of wooden rollers or a kind of twin-rotor helicopter we haven't invented yet.
That's fine. Just use logs. Everything's going so smoothly. It's easy for me to just sit here and watch it happen. Are you guys almost done moving in? There's still a couple of people who haven't moved into here. I can still afford to... Yeah, this is still at a reduced cost. Let's make some more flop houses. That'll hopefully be enough space. There are people living in these, right? Yeah, these are filled up with people and their families. Look at all those. That's great. That's very fantastic.
There's a new sport in the Tropican streets today called rebellion. However, the palace warns that without a license to play, rebellion is illegal.
You would think that the right to bear arms would delay these guys a little bit. I mean, you know, some people will tell you that it increases the problem. But if we have...
Best defense is a good offense, Presidente. But as yet I am only moderately offensive.
Okay, cool. You would think that it would make it easier to deal with these guys because they'd run into some, you know, of my patriotic citizens who are tired of everything getting set on fire. But I guess not. It doesn't quite work that way.
Sir, yes, sir. The operation is back on target.
That's cool. Let me look at what I have in this trading, not there. Where was it? Here? The trading post. I've got a bunch of boats here. I'm gonna quickly send those to the Axis. They want to buy them at almost double the price. Almost double what they're worth. I'll just quickly select the highest volume and sign that contract. You know? There we go. Yeah. I don't, you know, it would be a shame if anything happened to the Axis that prevented them from continuing to buy all of my trade goods, right? I have a feeling like something might happen to them soon, though. I have to wait for, you know... We're about halfway towards... A little more than halfway towards something happening to them. But the exciting news is that then we will be ready to move on. Let's take a look here. I could choose bells to bullets. Oh, I didn't mean to actually research that. I'm not going to use that, probably. It's probably not necessary. But having it is something, I guess. If I'm really desperate. Prohibition. What? Why would I do that? That's crazy. Nobody wants to do that. That's... I would make more research buildings, but I don't need them. I've got so many research points. In case I ever do need them.
Plane touched down at 1100 hours. Which coincidentally is the number of blisters on poor Penultimo's hands.
Is that... Am I done then? Do I have that... Did I acquire it? I did. Okay, cool. I've got these Easter Island heads now, which will increase the speed of all of my freighters and other embarked ships and stuff by like 5%, I think. So we're just cruising, you know? Look at this. This is going to be an absolutely...
Moai heads arrive in Tropico to rapturous applause. A craze is expected as Polynesian meets polystyrene in the form of Moai masks.
Yeah, this is a pretty good, This is a nice location I've got going on over here. This will be a good tourist trap.
I've got nothing against the big guy, but you can't sell tickets to church. I've tried. And let's face it, every penny spent on charity is a penny wasted. For-profit business is always the way to go.
God may excuse your blasphemy, child, but I've always found forgiveness the trickiest part of my religion. El Presidente, ignore this messenger of mammon and invest in for-people business.
Setting the Constitution the wealthy citizens vote is maybe the stupidest suggestion I've been given so far, or demand, I suppose, is what it is, not a suggestion. Yeah, get out of here, Mason. We're building a clinic. That is ridiculous. Oh, I could fit one in here. That's cool. I've only got one clinic over here, I think, which is also not really enough. But what kind of work are these people over here doing anyway? Not much. I've got way too many unemployed citizens. I've got some college-educated citizens that are unemployed.
See?
Where are you located?
Did I forget something?
Let's take a look. He's over here. So that means that maybe there are a couple more rich people over here. And if that's true, I have 5 rich people in total. Okay? Which isn't a lot, but I do have them. I could go ahead and put down that bank that I've been wanting to put down for a long time. Do I really want to put it down on this island, though? I guess it doesn't hurt if I do. I could always go ahead and make a richer neighborhood like over here. A slightly wealthier neighborhood. It'd have to be small. A mansion, maybe. There's like 5 rich people, right? I could bait them all into coming to live over here. Have this just be a very beautiful location, you know?
A good deed, Presidente. Performed, no doubt, with absolutely no thought of reward. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at how fantastic this location is. It is the best location you've ever seen in your entire life.
The citizens are demanding elections, Presidente. It seems that they want a choice in how they are ruled. So selfish.
Did I ever complete my, did I break my, hang on. Yeah, I fulfilled my promise. Okay, that's good. I can go ahead and do that again if I want to, make another promise, but I probably shouldn't. Acknowledge issue. They're actually, this is an issue, I guess. Praise faction. Everybody likes me more. Blame superpower. Let's just blame the allies. And I will promise nothing.
My friends, my people, welcome to a golden age of prosperity for every living Tropican. It was your trust that made it possible. Your trust of me, El Presidente. Other nations look to Tropico with a barely concealed jealousy. That is fully warranted. We have all the best landmarks, and they keep carelessly losing theirs. Of course, life is tough for those without jobs.
Spate of vandalism has been denounced by the palace as sour grapes. Poor people simply don't understand the pressures of wealth, a spokesperson said.
The guerrillas are attacking, but I saw a progress update that said there's only between 6 to 12 of them left. Because we were able to complete one of our raids, so hopefully we'll be able to exterminate them to the very last man or woman or child. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We need to go and stop them real soon because this is getting ridiculous.
A good leader listens to the people, Presidente. Show you care for your Tropican comrades and win their hearts and souls, though you do not get to keep them, okay?
Speaking of souls, I'd imagine that El Presidente is looking forward to joining me in heaven rather than going to the other place. The Good Shepherd looks after the sheep, don't you agree?
Okay. I really don't want to become a pacifist state. I mean, it probably is not a good time because I'm about to finish eliminating these guerrillas. I mean, I guess honestly, I probably could survive depending on how that exactly works. I know that you get to keep your palace guards, but being a pacifist state with the right to bear arms seems like a terrible idea. That seems like it's not great. So I'm gonna try, I could discard both of these, but let's see what the communists have as a minister. I mean, really, you can fulfill these promises and then go ahead and undo it later. Yeah, I've got the broker candidate, right? So it's not any kind of huge problem. What does this guy want? Minus 7% construction costs. Sure, that's not bad for residential buildings. That's not...
It is a great day for our comrades. We even had cake to celebrate.
Yeah, good. Great. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I can live with that. How much is my secret Swiss account at now? Let me just look at my objectives here. Right. I need to have enough money, 10 million in the treasury. I need to have a certain number of secret Swiss, that's 100,000. I currently have 15,000. I need to complete 200 tasks. I've completed 24, and I need to reach modern times. I'm actually very far from succeeding. In fact, let me go ahead. Now might be a good time for me to use audience to go ahead and get more tasks.
I am sure that you are burning to hear the frank and honest thoughts of the people of our great nation, especially when they know about a particularly lucrative business opportunity. The first 3 Tropicans with half-decent deals to offer will earn an exclusive one-on-one audience with you, our beloved leader, as long as they sign the waiver giving away all exclusive rights.
Okay, cool.
Presidente, I am inspired. I have solved the problem of capitalism.
Wow, that is great. That is fantastic.
I sometimes wonder about your final confession, Presidente. I suspect that it could take a rather long time to cover all your sins.
Have you seen the stock prices, Presidente? Looks like the bears ate the bulls. What a mess.
All right, well, I've already completed this one, and these are the 3 factions that dislike me the most, which isn't a surprise.
Our money's at work, Prez. I optioned the stock, stocked up on options, and stopped all the auctions.
That is pretty good.
Rockets, the newest threat raining death from the skies. The palace assures all its citizens that no country thinks Tropico is worth sending rockets against.
Not a bad idea to build a Teamster's office over here, where all the residential buildings are. So they can start over here, as opposed to starting at the dock. That could help, And I need to build a restaurant. Which I think I haven't built one yet. They have to be well off or better, though. Which shouldn't be that big of a deal. In fact, I could probably squeeze one in right over here, where there are a couple of different... Are there any well-off people over here? There should be some. Yeah. Some of them are. Which means I should also probably go ahead and build a restaurant right over here. And I can go ahead and I've already got the Teamster's office. So yeah, easy. I can't really build a whole lot more stuff here. A creamery. I could turn milk into cheese, but I don't know. How much milk am I producing? The cattle are producing milk, right? My cattle ranch is over here. No, they don't. But no, hang on. It's the sheep, not the sheep. It's goats that produce milk. But I think I've not got any over here. No, I have milk being produced by sheep, that's right. So I could build a creamery. And a textile mill. Either wool or cotton to produce cloth. This will provide more jobs. I can go ahead and keep on just putting all these industrial...
It is a great day for our comrades. We even had cake to celebrate.
Yeah.
I knew I could count on you to do the right thing. Eventually. And for a price.
Everybody is pleased with my spectacular governance. And I've got more jobs on the way, even though I didn't necessarily promise to provide more jobs. There are a whole lot more of them anyway. Which is good. Let me take another look at my current trades that I have going. Coffee, weapons, cigars, boats, oil. I don't have a rum trade going. Let me fill this up with rum. And I'll go ahead and send it when I can, even though I can't right now. It'll be better if I can have good relations with more than one foreign power in the future, so I can get lots of good trades out quickly. My Department of Economy is vacant. What happened? Oh, you know what? They died. Well, that's just as well. Go back to the broker candidate, I guess. Yeah.
I'm sure the good citizens of Tropico intend to vote for you, Presidente. I myself intend to vote for you many, many times.
I've got a 97% approval rating. There isn't any reason for me to cheat. I mean, there never has been at any point. The thing, I'm looking at this. There are between 1 and 13 guerrillas left because my surveillance is so bad. I can't tell the difference. Like, I'm not able to even tell. I guess that's fine. You know, people gotta have their liberty, right? Like, let's take a look at the total happiness, right? Liberty and happiness is actually now my highest level, which is pretty good. Compared to especially, yeah, compared to overall happiness from the Caribbean, things are pretty decent. Go ahead and look at just, you know, proactively intimidating my neighbors again. This lowers the happiness of the Caribbean, by the way. I've been doing this for a while. I don't know if I ever explained it. Intimidating your neighbors decreases the happiness of your neighboring countries, which means that compared to you, That's what you're compared against. So if you can keep their happiness a little bit lower than yours, then you can continue to have near total support, near absolute support, which might play just a little tiny role in why it is that I have so much, you know, just a itty bitty tiny role there, you know, just, not that I'm, you know, a bad, not that I'm bad at my job at all, there's nothing like that, it's just that, it could have some impact, right? I'll go ahead and sign this, why not? A small amount. And maybe Coco. It'll be a few more years. Just a small trade deal.
The election is a landslide, Presidente. The metaphorical kind, not the kind that accidentally reduces the size of the workforce.
Right. Only 8 people voted against me. And I guess a whole bunch of people didn't vote at all, which is weird. But, that is what it is. I can also take a brief look at these, but I don't really think that I would want to change them. It is interesting to consider, though. There isn't any. It's 1944. Will this war ever end? You know? I have a feeling like it might end soon, right? It might end very soon. I've got a good feeling that 1945 is the year, right? That something might happen. We're definitely gonna win, alright? That's for
Remember
sure.
the story of the man who built his house on a foundation of sand, Presidente?
We are receiving news that surprisingly organized vandals have damaged civic buildings in Tropico. Do not be alarmed. This is categorically not a rebel attack.
I'm getting really tired of these surprisingly organized vandals. I believe that the plan was to kill them all. Alright? I believe that that's what we were trying to do all this time. And yet, this keeps happening over and over again. And here comes our military. Look at them.
The glorious Axis cannot have lost. There is clearly some mistake.
Oh, look at that. I guess you weren't the master race after all. It appears as though the real master race all along were Caribbean islanders. Who would have thought? Because Tropico goes on.
The wars are over, Presidente. I would kiss you if it was not treason to do so.
Okay, so I guess I should briefly learn about this, and then I will continue later. I should go ahead and briefly introduce this.
Finally, the war is behind us. What's next? Certainly not a different kind of war.
Yeah, definitely not. That would never happen. Ecology. Okay, so the environment is finally a consideration, and I have to decide whether to, whether I should care about that at all. We're just gonna go with economy first. This will increase pollution by a lot, but it increases the efficiency of industrial buildings by a little. But pollution isn't a serious threat. I'm gonna take measures that you can solve pollution with money and make pollution more convenient for you than not, and keep it under control. You'll all see. It's fine. Separation of powers. This is a good one. Whether or not we're gonna have the ability for a courthouse, which is that, you know, people, there's a justice system and all that good stuff. And you have to, like, kind of use Swiss bank account money to bribe, hang on. Yeah, 20% of the extraction costs are transferred. True separation. You can't issue citizen actions. You can't do any of that. You know, whether or not people are gonna have rights or any kind of fair justice under the law. Obviously, we should just have no separation because I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna pluck the criminals off the streets and throw them in prison. Execute them if strictly necessary. All that good stuff. I know what I'm doing, you know. Cool. All right. I've gone ahead and picked my constitution. I might introduce the factions in the next video because that's gonna be like a whole thing. We'll start the Cold War next time and all of the stuff I have to try and do.